Hello there. Thank you for joining us. This is the Rudy Bruce broadcast. You focus on the truth, I focus on the facts. People of Canada, your voice will speak a million strong. If we come together and fight what's going on, we got homeless people living in tents. Be compassionate, do not judge, because 200,000 of us are using food banks. Where's the pride? Where's the pride? Where's our money we slave for? They cover it up. The working man is living poor. Rudy has true leadership, speaking for the ones who are tired of this shit. Make the government officials get a grip, or everyone loses the respect. Something's wrong, open your eyes. They tell us lies, you're blinded to this and mowing your lawn. United, we stand, divided, we fall. The time will come, the day is near, we will all march. So listen with your ears, we are not zombies or fresh meat. Let's grind up the government, make compost for the maple trees. Let's avenge the deaths of the ones who have fallen. Coronavirus, opioid, we're still trying. They thought they got away scot-free. We will get the last laugh. Just wait and see. Free, everyone does. Round of applause to you and yours for tuning in. We're opening doors. This is the real movement, people. Let's stand up, Canada, before you. These songs we have on the broadcast, let's provide the guide. Let's do it fast. Taxpayers believe it's strong and free. Everyone does. Are you kidding me? Pause to you and yours. Tune in, we're opening doors. This is the real movement. People that stand up Canada before we lose it. There, got it. Thanks for joining, everybody. It's 6 o'clock, and I'm going to start this right away. I want to check on the status of the broadcast. Let's see here. You're right. Wait a minute here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to just share this out a little bit. Um, let's see here. Where is this damn thing? There we are. Okay, welcome, everybody. And we're just getting rolling here. So share if you've got a share button.
Everything's good on this side. Restream. Okay. So what it's doing, or what it's not doing, is giving me a count. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I got 27. So let's give it a little more time, guys. One more, and then I'll probably get started here. Yes. You don't like how I talk, I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born this way, been loud too long. You can hate my style, you can roll your eyes, but I ain't slowing down, I was born to rise. So kick them rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. I've lost some friends, made a few new foes, but that's just life, that's how it goes. I ain't bending over just to please a crowd. If I fall down, I'll fall down proud. I talk my truth, I live my way. Ain't nobody gonna take my say. This road's been rough, but I learned to trade. It's sweat, soul and dues I paid. You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining the Rudy Bruce broadcast. Friday, March 6th. And today is a bit of an involving broadcast because I'm putting it out to you quite blunt today that our country is really in trouble, and there's a lot of moving parts going on, and a lot of people just are not paying attention, or you're not in tune what the fuck is going on, or something is amiss, because this is not fucking normal, okay, for what's going on, okay? Now, a lot of things, there's a few things that have been going on for 4, 5, or 6 years that have steadily gotten worse in Canada. Now, I'm talking about the displacement of Canadians and pushed into tents or whatever have you, whether it's an RV or your car or your van, or other than paying rent, okay, just having to survive. Now, a lot of people still have jobs and they maintain jobs and they're still living out of their vans or cars, whatever. And their life is pretty fucking tough, okay, when it's like that, because it's a constant survival mode, okay? And a lot of people in Canada don't really see it in front of them, okay? The hardship that's going to be coming. All right. It's already happening. There are people losing their jobs in the mills. People lost their jobs during COVID. This is being, call it a rupture, okay, of what the fuck is going on in Canada. And people are turning the other way. And they're not really paying attention to what the I've got a yellow notice here of my um, connection. Okay, we're back. Things are not normal in Canada, and things are going to get worse yet. Now, you're already experiencing high prices in the grocery stores, high rents, okay? You're being taxed still up the yin yang. That's putting it mildly. A yellow notice here. Okay, I'm back, I guess. Now I'm running Starlink, okay? And I'm also running a generator to give you this broadcast. If you can help support the broadcast with an e-transfer, you can do it at rudybruce@gmail.com, okay? Otherwise, this cost is my cost to you to tell you that this country is in extreme trouble, okay? And you guys are looking the other way now.
If you told the average Canadian 10 years ago, within a decade, 2/3 of the country would be living paycheck to paycheck, forced to choose between heating their homes and buying groceries, they'd have laughed in your face. That skilled workers earning six-figure salaries would struggle to pay rent. That the healthcare system would all but collapse, with 24,000 Canadians dying waiting for surgeries or diagnostic tests in the past year. That massive tent cities with hordes of drug-addled homeless would spring up in every major city. But that's exactly what happened. While it might sound sensational, the past decade has been a total collapse of what was once considered one of the best countries in the world to live in. Between chronic economic mismanagement, the complete failure to integrate mass waves of low-scale immigration, and corporate cartels consolidating ever greater power, the average Canadian has had their status reduced to that of a medieval vassal, earning just enough to put bread on the table with nothing left over for the future. The Canada you grew up in is dead. Crushed by rising public and private debt, resource underutilization, non-functional healthcare and housing, and an ever-widening gap between a small elite and an increasingly impoverished population, the new Canada is rapidly becoming a third world backwater. So how did we get to this disastrous place? Where does this trajectory lead if the trend continues? And what, if anything, can still be done to salvage what remains? To illustrate the severity of the current situation, consider the following. Canadians are now one of the most indebted populations in the world. As of 2025, Canada's household debt-to-income ratio, which compares total household debt to its aggregate after-tax income, was 177%. Put simply, Canadians owe $1.77 for every dollar they earn. This is the third highest ratio in the world, meaning Canadians are spending an alarming portion of their income paying off credit cards, mortgages, and bank loans, leaving little to nothing for emergencies, savings, education, and other necessities. To put this in perspective, by late 2025, the Americans had a debt-to-income ratio of just 81%, less than half of Canadians. Even more troubling, this is a relatively recent phenomenon. Through the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, Canadian and American debt ratios closely mirrored one another. That all changed after the 2008 financial crisis. While the US underwent a violent market collapse with mass foreclosures, widespread bankruptcies, and enormous debt write-offs, Canada did not. While there was a brief downturn, housing prices quickly resumed their meteoric rise, with successive governments doubling down on housing as the engine for economic growth. In other words, Canada never went through the painful deleveraging the US did. We never learned the lessons of the mortgage crisis because we never had to, and we're paying the price for that now. As of late 2025, having avoided 2 consecutive quarters of GDP contraction, Canada's economy is not technically in recession. Technically. It's important to note that federal leaders and their investor class cronies accomplished this through record levels of immigration, used to prop up housing demand and inflate aggregate economic output. This boosted the overall GDP, but came at the expense of the metric that really matters: GDP per capita. That ratio has dropped for 5 of the past 7 quarters and now sits at 2.5% below pre-pandemic levels. And Canadians are feeling it. A recent H&R Block survey revealed a shocking 85% of Canadians say living paycheck to paycheck is now the norm, up from 60% just 1 year ago. And the reality on the ground reflects this. Walk through downtown Toronto or Vancouver and you'll see endless empty storefronts, lineups around the block for minimum wage McDonald's and Tim Hortons jobs, the usual smiling Remax agent ads on buses and trains, swapped out for payday loans, cash for gold, and debt restructuring services. According to a 2024 Food Banks Canada report, roughly 10 million Canadians, about 1/4 of the population, are now living in poverty, unable to afford essentials like heating their homes, internet access, adequate daily protein, new clothes, or dental care. For context, in 2024, Mexico's poverty rate was 29.6%, Brazil's was 23.1%, and Moldova's was 27.5%. All countries widely classified as third world or developing economies, if you prefer. Food bank usage further underscores this trend. It's more than doubled since 2019, with 33% of users being children, 19% employed Canadians, and over 8% seniors. Unemployment paints a similar grisly picture. Canada's overall unemployment rate is fluctuating around 7%, placing it among the highest in the OECD. And that figure is generous. It counts part-time and gig work as employment, masking the true underemployment issue. But the real story here is youth unemployment, hovering at around 14%, a 15-year high. Much of this is the direct result of the massive expansion of the temporary foreign worker and international student programs, flooding the labor market with millions of low-skill workers and displacing the entry-level jobs normally filled by high school and college kids. But poverty, food banks, and unemployment aren't the cause of Canada's decline. They're merely the symptoms. At the core of Canada's economic stagnation is an uncomfortable fact. The country has regulated itself into paralysis. Investment doesn't flee countries because of a lack of resources. It flees because the rules make building anything impossible. Here are just a few of the major oil and gas projects canceled over the past decade. Energy East, worth $15.7 billion, a proposed pipeline to transport crude oil from Alberta to New Brunswick, canceled in 2017 due to regulatory delays and significant opposition in Quebec. Northern Gateway, worth $7.9 billion, an Enbridge project to move oil from Alberta to the BC coast. Its permits were revoked by the federal government in 2016 following concerns over spills and Indigenous rights. Tech Frontier Oil Sands, $20.6 billion, a massive bitumen mining project in northern Alberta, scrapped by Teck Resources in 2020, citing unresolved federal environmental policies. In total, the cumulative value of all scrapped resource projects since 2015 is an eye-watering $670 billion. Had these projects succeeded, conservative estimates suggest they would have added over $1 trillion to GDP, created 400,000 to 600,000 highly paying skilled jobs, and generated enough tax revenue to eliminate the federal deficit for much of the period. It's as if Canada is an energy superpower that wants to put itself out of business. You can either develop your energy resources to achieve widespread economic prosperity, or you could be a preening, preachy, moral do-gooder, lecturing the world about climate change, carbon neutrality, and net zero. But you can't do both. Canada's web of provincial rules, standards, and permitting requirements is so complex that it functions like a system of internal trade barriers. According to the IMF, these barriers impose the equivalent of a 21% internal tariff on goods and services moving within the country. No other developing economy tolerates such an inefficient internal market. Further evidence that Canada's economic decline is no accident. It's the result of pure incompetence. Finally, perhaps the most troubling sign of Canada's new normal is the absolute explosion in homelessness. Just a few years ago, seeing tents pitched in parks or vacant lots was a rarity. Today, entire shanty towns seem to have popped up overnight. And with homelessness comes theft, assault, rampant drug use, filth, disease, and despair, all of which spreads into the surrounding community. The official homeless population has doubled over the past 6 years, with nearly 60,000 experiencing homelessness on any given night. But that figure drastically understates the reality. These counts exclude the so called hidden homeless, people sleeping in cars, motels, couch surfing, and the like. When included, this number jumps to roughly 300,000 people nationwide, a jarring figure. Canada's homeless population is projected to double again over the next 6 years to between 550 and 570,000 people. Roaming hordes of fentanyl induced zombies will become permanent fixtures in Canadian cities. While not a problem limited to developing countries, the squalor, tent cities, crime, and open drug use are certainly reminiscent of dysfunctional third world nations, perfectly content with the progressive disintegration of Canadian society. Let's hope Canadians realize it didn't have to be this way, that the third worlding of Canada was entirely self inflicted, and that the process can still be reversed. If only people wake the hell up.
Okay. Now, I've been broadcasting, as I said, for 10 years now or more. And I've been saying over and over and over again that the way to put the brakes on this is for the people to come together in protest, massive protest, and say to the government bluntly, that we demand better for Canada. Canada comes first, and that kind of thing, in peaceful protest. But massive protests didn't happen, other than the trucker convoys and some others. But overall, not enough. Not enough people are getting together to go out in massive protest and say, hey, we disagree with this. The biggest hit in this country so far in the last 10 years has been the COVID thing, because the COVID thing was a complete fucking lie. And they came out with a biological weapon as an injection to kill Canadians. And still, Canadians don't somehow get it. I mean, what the fuck does it take to get people to understand your country, our country, if you can call it a country, is in massive, trouble mode, emergency mode. We're already in the middle of a winter where, again, a number of people have suffered with hypothermia and frostbite and other things, making it horrendous for some people in some areas because of homelessness. Not because they were committing a crime, but because they're living on the street, because they've got nothing left. And the governments, provincial governments, federal government, have never declared that as an emergency for the homeless, that there's countless people living on the streets and being pushed around by the cops. If you're setting up a tent trying to have shelter, you're being pushed around to no end. And it's a constant struggle. I mean, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, bothering with looking for a fucking job when every fucking hour of the day you're worried about where you're going to be sleeping that night. and not get harassed by the cops. I mean, this has been a rap that the government has inflicted on you by bringing in massive immigration. And now we've got lineups at our emergency wards in the hospitals. You're like 13 hours to see a fucking doctor. In some reports in Manitoba, that people are dying waiting to see a friggin' doctor. And what is it going to take for you to understand? There's a national problem in Canada, and it's being inflicted by your government, by Mr. Fuckface Carney and the rest of them. Okay, none of them has spoken out regarding the urgency it is for social services to get up off its ass and start handing out a proper allocation to take care of people that are living on the streets, because they're the ones that caused it, most of it, because of lack of funds to the poor. You would rather see people out on the street freezing to death over simply giving them enough money to warehouse their needs, like be able to actually rent an apartment. But that hasn't been going on. There are people in Calgary that I'm aware of that have been on the streets for over 5 years trying to find low cost housing. To the date, nothing, okay, has come their way. And they're still struggling in a stupid place called the Calgary Drop-In Center, which looks like a fucking jail. Okay, on the inside with steel toilets and steel urinals, and this is fucking bizarre. How these people have to survive living on a mat on the floor. There is no peace in these places. You do not sit back and relax like you would in a hotel room. There's you and privacy and the TV, and you can relax and have a shower if you feel like it, whatever. This isn't like that. This is a constant, you keep your eyes open and you keep alert about what's going on around you, because holy fuck, a fight can break out or who knows what. And we put up with this. This is what our tax dollars are paying for. Okay, this is what's on the table for the homeless. All right, year after year. And it's getting worse. Okay, now you got 10 million possibles going to a food bank. And who speaks for the homeless? This is an epidemic, and it's going to get worse. That's what this broadcast is about. How many of you are actually awake out there that would share this video out to get it out there to as many people as you can? Because this is a fucking problem in our country. Because a little dirty thing was done by David Eby regarding assigning of land, the lower mainland, over to a native band, First Nations stuff. Now, all those people in that zone don't know what the fuck to make of their property. It's like the government gave their property away without any consultation. Now, who is that property tax going to now, and the rest of it? What the fuck is going on? Did you just give away the entire lower mainland back to the natives? Okay. On a treaty that was produced back in the what, 1700s or something like that? I mean, these are ancestors, okay, that produced this treaty or whatever this thing is. And over decades, okay, this goes quietly under the rug, and all this land is developed and money's changed hands and the whole 9 yards, okay, in this area. We're talking huge dollars, okay? We're talking streets, we're talking sidewalks, a lot of development, okay, has happened in that lower mainland. Only to be poof, a signature gives it to some chief. There's a lot of shit going on in this country. And you, the people, have to start standing up and taking notice. And I'll tell you something, getting together in massive numbers does say something, okay? It says, we don't agree with this, and we're coming together to stand up against this, okay? This is something we I'm losing connection or um um there, I'm back. There's a lot of shit going on here. And until it affects you personally, you're just going to keep that 9 to 5 job rolling and all this kind of shit. I tell you, it's now affecting a lot of people in the lower mainland in British Columbia. It's right in your face. And what it all boils back to is the UNDRIP written out of the United Nations bullshit. And not a governing body of Canada, and yet all the influence of COVID and all that shit's coming through the United Nations. The United Nations was not an elected body into Canada. And any politicians, you could mark this up, okay, and mark my words. Any politician that has been making agreements, backdoor agreements with this United Nations fucking bullshit, okay, and have not registered as a double agent or whatever in a Canadian fucking whatever it is, there's a section of if you are a double agent or an agent of a foreign power, you've got to register onto this thing, and people are looking into that. There's a lot of shit going on in this country. You people are just sitting back and just seem to be like taking it and accepting it by not getting out and protesting in mass numbers. You're in the sense of taking it. You're allowing it. You're allowing it by not doing something about it. You're allowing it.
This is a major warning to all Canadians that the evictions are now happening. Your homes, your land, and your future are under direct threat right now. The government is coming for your land and your home through so-called reconciliation. Video, I'm going to explain how this is happening and why it must be rejected, lock, stock, and barrel. First, look at the Queenish mobile home park in Comex Valley, where over 100 residents, many of them are
Congratulations. You won access to the secret Google income bot.
Fucking bullshit. Fucking.
are being evicted by the Comox First Nations. These people have lived there for decades. They've poured their life savings into trailers that they thought were their forever homes. And they just received their final notice that they have less than 2 years to vacate. They're told to pack up and leave because the land
Okay, I'm not playing the whole thing.
is urgently needed for band members.
I'm not playing the whole thing. But you'll find it in the Rudy Bruce broadcast group, and I've also posted it. What I'm talking about is fucking real. Okay? By sitting back and not fucking standing up for your rights in your country and the rest of it, you're allowing it to happen. By not doing anything. No participation, you're letting it happen.
To
the government of Canada and to every let me make something very clear right from the you do not rule us on that, then you have no business holding office. Because the job of government is not to control the population. The job of government is not to silence criticism. The job of government is not to decide what is legitimate information and what is not. The job of government is to serve the people and to protect the rights and freedoms of every Canadian. And I'm here to tell you that many of us no longer believe you are doing that. What I see happening in Canada right now is a slow, steady push toward a country where dissent is treated like danger and obedience is treated like virtue. That is not democracy. That is not freedom. That is not the Canada I grew up believing in. When government officials begin speaking as if independent media is illegitimate, while simultaneously defending taxpayer-funded media as the trusted voice, Canadians are not stupid. We understand exactly what that implies. It implies that you believe you have the right to shape the narrative. It implies that you believe you have the right to decide what the public is allowed to see, hear, or believe. And it implies that if people disagree with you, they should be treated as extremists. That mindset is dangerous because governments that respect democracy don't fear criticism. They don't fear debate. They don't fear opposing viewpoints. They answer them. And lately, instead of answering Canadians, we're being lectured, labeled, and dismissed. I want to remind you of something. Canadians do not exist to serve the government. The government exists to serve Canadians. And when Canadians lose trust in the institutions, it isn't because they're ignorant, it's because those institutions have repeatedly shown they can't be trusted. And the arrogance coming from Ottawa, the attitude, the citizens should just sit down and shut up and comply is exactly what is fueling the anger across this country. Now let me say something else very clearly. I'm not calling for violence, I'm not threatening anyone, and I am not interested in chaos. What I am calling for is accountability. And I want you to understand something. Accountability is coming because Canadians are waking up. People are tired of being treated like children, tired of being taxed into the ground, tired of being told what they're allowed to say, tired of being told what's acceptable, tired of being told that what's misinformation whenever it contradicts the government's preferred story. You do not get to police the thoughts of the public. You do not get to control the flow of information. And you do not get to attack the free speech while pretending you're protecting democracy. Because democracy without free speech is not democracy, it's an illusion. I want you to hear this loud and clear. The Canadian people are not your property. This country is not your personal project, and the laws of Canada are not meant to protect politicians from public anger. They are meant to protect the rights of Canadians. And if you keep pushing this country further down the road of censorship, propaganda, and division, then you will be resisted, not with violence, but with exposure, with truth, with political pressure, and with the full force of Canadians using every lawful and democratic tool available to remove you. That is not a threat, that is democracy. Because in a free country, politicians can be voted out, they can be challenged, they can be criticized. And if you cannot handle that, then you do not belong in office. I will end with this. You are public servants. You are not kings. You are not masters. You are not above the people. And if you continue acting like you are, then Canadians will remind you, sooner or later, exactly who holds the power in this country. Because it is not Ottawa. It is the people. And we are done being silent.
Okay. How many ways can I put that? Or explain that? If I know that, you know that, right? If I know what I'm hearing and you can hear it too, you obviously know what the fuck is happening, right? You obviously know there's a lot of shit going on in this country. And we, the people, are paying for it. Let's get that understood. You're paying for it, and I'm paying for it. Don't you think it's a bit of a problem when your government is forcing people onto the street in poverty and causing all this hardship on the people? Do you get that? I mean, this has been going on for a long time, and it's getting worse. Okay, when people are getting kicked around like they're nothing, like they're garbage, okay? And then at the same time, the government's bringing in the back door all these immigrants, piling them in into your country, piling them in, taking up your resources, all of your fucking everything, your shelters, your medical, and it's piling in. And you go to the grocery store and you're standing in an enormous lineup, and they keep piling him and piling him in. How difficult do you think that makes your life when you've got to stand in all these lineups and fucking wait in the emergency rooms for fucking hours just to see a doctor because there is no family doctors available? Come on now. How much of a strain do you think that is on our medical system now? And when they're brought in front of committee and they get asked these questions, how many are on the run, you know, that are unaccounted for? Hundreds. They've allowed this fucking thing, this earthquake, to happen to our country, and you don't even see it, okay? But you feel it. But feeling it isn't enough for most people. They just think it's normal. They got all these people. I mean, well, where did all these people come from? Did you ever stop to ask yourself that? Where did all these people come from? And why all these people? To screw you. And if that's not bad enough, another internal screw was make a deal with the Chiefs and we'll fucking screw those people too. We'll cause so much chaos in Canada, they won't know which way to turn. And then you got this separation thing in Alberta, and you've got all this other shit going on, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars to Ukraine, and now you've got another war going on, and maybe we're going to get in, maybe we're not, and all kinds of fucking chaos going on. And what the fuck is happening to the poor? The same fucking thing every day. Life doesn't stop for the poor or anybody, it continues to go on, and that struggle goes on every day. Because nothing is getting fixed, nothing is being addressed. Just becoming worse because it's being allowed to be worse because nobody's fucking doing shit about it. And it keeps going on. Get distracted by another fucking thing. Distracted by another thing. No But we're supposed to just think that it's all normal. That these government politicians, well, they know what they're doing. I mean, fuck, they're eating fucking high class dinners on private jets, like fucking $98,000 for a dinner or some fucking thing on Carney's, one of Carney's trips. The food bill was enormous. Caviar and fucking champagne or whatever the fuck they are eating. I mean, the most expensive fucking food you could imagine on this fucking flight, while thousands of fucking people are starving below them in tents and trying to get into a food bank. And, you know, the social services department cuts off all people that don't have a fucking address. Yet they're Canadian. Their support checks were cut off, I understand, if they didn't have an address. So what address are they supposed to use? I guess the AISH or the drop-in center address, or what address do you scramble on? I mean, what the fuck? An address to be fucking getting support? To feed yourself is what I'm saying, to be able to go out and buy some food, or, I mean, because aren't Canadians supposed to come first? Just thinking. I mean, it's a thought, right? I mean, like, people do eat every day. I mean, you know what I mean? As a rule, I mean, that's what we are. We're human. We got to eat, right? And drink. While they're charging for the water, they're charging for the food and every other fucking thing. I mean, like, when you got no income and you're on the street homeless, a senior, retired, you know, pushing in your 70s, you know, it's not an easy thing to just go back and start applying for work, because there is no fucking work, because you're too old or something, or, I mean, there's a lot of problems out there, a lot of different problems. Not everything is all rolled up into one big basket and then just turn around and start calling them all a drug addict because they're homeless. Stereotype them. Oh, they're just, you know, not worth doing anything with because they're homeless. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not Canadian, okay? That's not Canadian. It's not Canadian to stand up there and ridicule somebody who's been trying to feed the homeless. For example, Pastor Arthur, arrested during COVID for feeding the homeless, and we watched it. We watched businesses being shut down over a lie, like the Adam Scully barbecue scenario, for example, and others, over a lie. No proof of a pandemic, no scientific proof here, okay? But just caught up in this government lie to make Canadians suffer in extreme hardship. And they're talking about health care. Like, really? What a double standard. Here they come out with all this bullshit regarding healthcare and blah, blah, blah. And yet they're not doing anything to address the homeless at that time, that they may be getting, susceptible to COVID or anything else like that. They're not taking any special precautions of opening up facilities. Oh, no, just come get your PCR test to see if you're sick or not. Not that you are. What a fucking scam. And all this is going on. And where are the protests to rebel this policy bullshit? I'm going to tell you one more time, and I'm going to keep telling you. Unless you get together with other Canadians on that protest line and start speaking out about this injustice that's going on around you, You're going to continue to lose. You're not putting the brakes on to this massive problem the government is inflicting on you. We are being taken down from the inside out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's how bad this is. You can't keep telling me it's okay to sit back and do nothing. You can't keep telling me that. You can't keep letting me see that in Canada. Okay? Really? Canadians? To keep sitting back and not getting into major protest. I mean, this should be an ongoing event. The carbon tax is destroying this country. Being taxed up the ass is destroying this country. Okay? Where is the break of this bullshit? Okay? Agenda 2030. You better start looking that shit up because a lot of that shit is what's being implemented into Canada. And where does it come from? The United Nations. The United Nations is not an elected body into this country. They are not elected. And the decisions that Carney is making are not Canadian. The guy should be fucking non-confidenced. He's destroying this fucking country. And if them fucking politicians in Ottawa don't get it, what the fuck? Where is your democracy? When a person is out there destroying your country, Trudeau was a part of it too. Where is your opposition on this shit? You think you're going to go through another 3-4 years of fucking Carney? Really? How far you want to take this? How far do you want to keep letting it go? Where you sit back and you take it, you take it, you take it. Fuck. The guy that invented Vaseline, this guy must be making a fucking fortune. Because you're taking it up the ass, Canadians. You're literally taking it up the ass. You should go buy yourself a jar of fucking Vaseline. Really. Maybe that's what it is. That's why you're not hurting so bad. Maybe you're buying loads of fucking Vaseline on this fucking subject. Because that's what is going on. And every day that you don't stand up, every day that you're not coming together is another fucking suffering bunch of fucking days for homelessness. At least designate a place they can go to. They're not going to get kicked around all the time, okay? As same with people that are living in RVs and stuff like that. They find a place that they can park for free, that they don't have to keep paying through the nose because they can't afford it. Because if it does go that way, there's your poverty, okay? That's hardship, more hardship on an already existing problem that you're inflicting. You're allowing it to be inflicted because you're not getting up to do anything about it. You're just letting it happen. Because Carney is standing up there and saying, well, Canadians voted for this. You know, Carney's party is standing up and saying that kind of shit. Canadians voted for this. Are you serious? Okay. You think that Canadians voted for that crap? You think that's what most Canadians want? Is that garbage? To be paying through the nose for taxes and paying this, paying that, and fucking standing in lineups all over the fucking place now, waiting in a fucking emergency ward, all kinds of shit. You think you wanted that? Is Accountability, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we have to band together and start asking ourselves. Accountability behind our dollars leaving the country and not helping Canadians. Thousands, billions, billions of fucking dollars leaving our country in the name of some other bullshit. How much did they just give India? What was it, 100 billion or some fucking thing? I could be wrong on the number. Okay, for students to increase their education level or all this fucking bullshit. Really? To fucking bring more fucking people from another country to pour into our country to exhaust our fucking system even more. To bring in all these electrical vehicles into Canada from China. And then all that money, we need a bunch of money to upgrade the grid there and have all these charging stations and all that. And fuck the people. We don't give a fuck about the people. They can fucking starve on the fucking street, be homeless, whatever the fuck. They don't give a fuck. Oh, we just want this, and fuck the people. That's what's happening. Okay? On an electric bullshit fucking project. Really? On an electric project, these electric EVs, that's worth more than looking after Canadians on the fucking streets. Or Indian students to increase their education on Canadian soil. Where's your priorities, okay? Where's your priorities for Canada, for Canadians? And if it isn't there, then why are you, the people, sitting back accepting the bullshit? It's that simple. The more you sit back and do nothing about it, the more it's going to keep happening. It's common sense. If the government doesn't see any pushback, they're going to keep coming with their agenda. And until you start calling for accountability on behalf of these government agents spending your tax dollars on bullshit, because it certainly isn't helping homelessness in Canada or the poor or anything else, okay? And if you think you're going to keep up this job that makes this $5,000 a month forever, you got another fucking thing coming, okay? You're going to work yourself to death, and then in the end result, you'll get a big surprise. Because that's how it rolls in Canada. So, you have a government that took it upon itself to notify the banks, and this is a good comment. You have this illegitimate government that illegal, all these things that they did during the trucker convoy, they got found in the judgment didn't go their way. Okay, it didn't go in their favor. So it was an illegal move that they did when they froze bank accounts and did what they did. Okay, set by the high courts. Okay, all these fucking things that the government fucking did were deemed illegal. They didn't hit the threshold to make an emergencies act. Okay, they fucking inflicted this fucking shit on you without proper channels. Okay, they just did it. They just fucking did it. Even if it was against the fucking charter. They fucking did it. So now you have the right to demand accountability upon this fucking government. And that's what you should be doing. Or it's going to continue to fucking get worse. So it's up to you. It's about time you stand up for your country, okay? And stop fucking jerking everybody's chain, okay? No one man is going to do this fucking thing, all right? It takes the people. And that is the narrative that we are going after. It's time for accountability in front of this fucking government. All government. Scream out for fucking accountability of these governments, provincial, fucking federal, whatever the fuck. Because they're not out to help you. So you better be out there to help yourself and stand up for your fucking rights in this country. Or you're gonna fucking lose every fucking bit of it. Right now, they're considering you as cattle. So you can either stand up for this country and be a Canadian in the fact that you're tired of being pushed around and you're tired of taking it up the ass. Stop buying Vaseline and get real, because this is fucking real. You're going to be next on the fucking street line, okay? That's you. And by not taking action now makes it worse later, okay? Every time you stand up in protest, in big protest, not puny little protest, okay? Then they're going to notice. And they're going to start noticing because it happens more frequently. Upset, unruling. We're not going to take it anymore. We want accountability of this fucking government bullshit. That's how you take it. Not sitting back and just take it up the ass. They come out with all these bills, Bill C9, Bill S206, and the rest of this fucking bullshit. You know what's in that fucking shit? You ever fucking studied that shit up? And they're trying to tell you how to live? You stand up against the government, believe me, and you're going to see some fucking change. It may be a little tough at first, but if you keep going in your own country and push it, you're going to get somewhere. And stop fucking letting it happen. Start taking charge, or you're going to lose every fucking thing we got. And that's what David Eby did to the lower mainland of British Columbia with trying to sign off land, which is, I believe, unconstitutional. Okay? This has to be challenged. Okay? This whole fucking mess, all right, has to be challenged in a court. This brings up a big problem. Okay? And unless you help stand up against all this bullshit, these people in the lower mainland stand to lose every fucking thing. And the list goes on. With the money that's being raped off Canadians and put into other countries, thousands and billions of dollars. You got to understand this. You know this is happening. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it there. Because I think you get the point. It's up to you to save the country, not up to some American. We have a big fucking problem in this country. And it's called people are not standing up to reality. Because this is not What you're seeing is not fucking reality. This is a takeover of your rights, your sovereignty. Okay? You got to wake up to this. Again, if you want to support the broadcast, you can send by e-transfer to rudybruce@gmail.com. Um, I'll type it in here. You can get if you want to send an e-transfer to support the broadcast, I would appreciate it. Again, we've got a yellow line there. Okay. There's my email if you want to support the broadcast.
Hello there. Thank you for joining us. This is the Rudy Bruce broadcast. You focus on the truth. I focus on the facts. People of Canada, your voice will speak a million strong. If we come together and fight what's going on, we got homeless people living in tents. Be compassionate, do not judge, because 200,000 of us are using food banks. Where's the pride? Where's the pride? Where's our money we slave for? They cover it up. The working man is living poor. Rudy has true leadership, speaking for the ones who are tired of this shit. Make the government officials get a grip, or everyone loses the respect. Something's wrong, open your eyes. They tell us lies, you're blinded to this and mowing your lawn. United, we stand, divided, we fall. The time will come, the day is near, we will all march. So listen with your ears, we are not zombies or fresh meat. Let's grind up the government, make compost for the maple trees. Let's avenge the deaths of the ones who have fallen. Coronavirus, opioid, we're still trying. They thought they got away scot-free. We will get the last laugh. Just wait and see. These talks we have on the broadcast will provide the guide. Let's do it fast. Taxpayers believe we live strong and free. Everyone does. Are you shitting me? Round of applause to you and yours for tuning in. We're opening doors. This is the real movement, people. Let's stand up, Canada, before we lose. We're still trying. They thought they got away scot-free. We will get the last laugh. Just wait and see. These songs we have on the broadcast will provide the guide. Let's do it fast. Taxpayers believe it's strong and free. Everyone does. Are you shitting me? You and yours for tuning in. We're opening doors. This is the real movement. People that stand up Canada before we
Okay, it's gone. There it is. I want to thank you again for joining the broadcast. And next Friday, 6 o'clock, we'll do it again. And maybe we'll have a guest on. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I want you to start getting involved in your groups and getting out there and start a protest, because we have got to start protesting, asking for accountability of government. Either it's provincial or federal. I don't give a shit. We want accountability on what the fuck is going on in this country, okay? And start taking notice that you, the people, have the power if you will stand up for it. Anyway, until next time, thank you again for joining. Again, if you want to send an e-transfer to help out with the broadcast cost, there's an email there that you can send an e-transfer to. I would appreciate it. It costs money to run the generator and satellite and all that shit, and the Restream and everything, and your support helps that. So again, thank you for joining. I will be back again next Friday, 6 o'clock BC time, and I will do another show for you, and I'll hang in there as long as I can. Stop paying taxes. There's another guy. I'll put that out there in just a minute here. There it is. Stop paying into taxes. Okay, if there's a way to do it, let's find out. Let's start looking at the avenues of shutting off the taps to these injustice bullshit, corporation bullshit. You are a man and a woman, and so on and so on. And these are corporations, and they have us fooled. Okay, so hang in there, people. There is a way out of this. There is a way to turn course on this. Till next time, I'm Rudy Bruce, just getting the word out there. Now, I hope to see you next Friday.